3 years ago, an accident took my legs, my freedom, and almost my wish to keep living. But in a way I never thought would happen, it gave me him. First, a thank you to my amazing supporters. Your help lets me tell stories that look into the messy, real parts of life. This story is not simple, so please stay with me. The doctor said I was lucky. Lucky the big truck didn't smash me completely. Lucky my back wasn't broken. Lucky my son Logan wasn't in the car with me that night. They said I was lucky. That's a funny word for a woman who can't walk more than 10 steps without her legs hurting badly. Our little house in Ohio used to seem too big when Logan was at school. Now it feels too small. He is everywhere, making food, fixing my pillows, and lifting me into the shower when my muscles don't work. My boy, my man, because that's the one thing no one tells you when you have a baby at 16. One day they grow up, really grow up. Logan was always tall, but at 19, he's broad. He works in construction, so his hands are rough and his voice is deep. And his eyes, God, his eyes are just like his father's. The one who left me as soon as the pregnancy test was positive. Mom? I jump. Logan is standing in the doorway, holding a bowl of soup. You didn't eat lunch? I wasn't hungry. You never are. He puts the bowl on the table next to my bed and looks worried. Your legs hurt today. I don't answer. He knows. He always knows. I hold my breath. The scars are ugly, with twisted skin and sharp lines from the surgeries. Logan's fingers pause above them. Can I? I nod. The first touch is like a doctor's working on the stiff muscles around my knee. But then his thumb finds a tight spot near my inner thigh, and I bite my lip. You're tense, he whispers. You have no idea. He gently fixed my blanket to make sure I was warm. His touch was full of care. Not enough to be wrong, but enough to make my heart beat faster. It's just the warmth of his hand, I tell myself. The good feeling of the pain going away. But when his fingers lightly touch the edge of my shorts, I stop breathing. Logan stops too, for a second too long. Neither of us moves. Then he clears his throat and pulls my pant leg down. Better, yes. Thanks, baby. He pauses, like he wants to say more. Instead, he takes the soup bowl and leaves. I look at the ceiling, thinking about those few seconds when his touch almost went too far, and for the first time in years, I feel something besides pain, something risky. The second time he touched me, I knew it wasn't just about my legs anymore. The morning sun came through the curtains, too bright and happy for the storm in my mind. I hadn't slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt Logan's hands on me. Warm, rough, and staying too long. I told myself it was nothing. Just a son helping his mother. A caregiver making the pain go away. But the way my skin felt hot where he touched it, that wasn't pain. The sound of Logan's door opening down the hall brought me back to the present. I quickly pulled the blanket over my lap, as if he could see the thoughts in my head. I heard footsteps. Then his shadow was in my doorway. You're up early, he said, his voice sleepy. He had no shirt on, and his sweatpants hung low on his hips. A tattoo went across his ribs, one he got last year without asking me. I made myself look away. Couldn't sleep. Legs again? Yes, I nodded. Logan sighed and came in, sitting next to me like he did the night before. Without asking, he pulled the blanket back and put his hands on my bare calf. I jumped. Sorry, he mumbled. Cold hands. But it wasn't how cold they were that made me tense. It was the way his fingers pressed into my skin, slow and on purpose, like he was learning the shape of me. You're tight everywhere, he whispered. I swallowed hard. Last night I could pretend it was an accident. But now, in the light of day, I couldn't deny how he rubbed the tightness in my muscles, focusing only on stopping the pain, and how his hands slid up the back of my thigh. Logan, relax. His voice was deeper than usual. You need to relax. Let your body rest. I wasn't fighting the massage. I was fighting this, the way my body was reacting to him, the way my breath caught when his fingers touched the edge of my shorts, the way my stomach got tight when I saw him looking at me, not like a son looks at his mother, but like a man looks at a woman. A knock at the front door broke the moment. Logan jumped back. Are you expecting someone? No. He stood up, his muscles showing as he stretched. I'll get it. I let out a shaky breath. My skin still felt warm where he had touched me. I could hear voices from the living room. Mrs. Whitmore, our nosy neighbor, was asking if we needed anything. From the store, Logan said no politely, and the door closed. When he came back, his face was hard to read. Think she knows? He asked. My heart stopped. Knows what? He smirked. That we never gave her back the dish from the casserole she brought last month? I made myself laugh, but my hands were shaking because for a second I thought he meant us. That night, rain hit the windows hard. The storm made the power go out and the house became dark. Logan lit candles and their moving light made shadows on his face. He sat next to me on the couch, close enough that I could feel the heat. Coming from him, "Are you cold?" he asked. "No, liar." He put a blanket over us anyway. Our legs touched under it, and neither of us moved away. The wind howled outside. A tree branch scraped the roof like fingernails. Then his hand found mine. It wasn't an accident, not a simple touch. His fingers laced with mine, rough and sure. I should have pulled my hand away. I didn't. In the candlelight, his eyes looked black, like a warning, a question, a request. The power came back on with a sudden noise, filling the room with light. We jumped apart like we'd been burned. But the feeling between us didn't go away. One kiss. That's all it took to break us and change us into something we weren't supposed to be. The power outage changed everything. For 3 days after that, night on the couch, Logan and I moved around each other like we didn't know each other. Polite, careful, and wanting. I saw him looking at my mouth when I talked. His hands stayed a little too long when he helped me stand up. Once, I turned around, too fast, and found him smelling my hair where it had touched his shoulder. We were like a lit bomb. And then came the explosion. It happened on a Tuesday. Logan had just come home from work, smelling of sweat and summer. He kicked off his boots. His white t-shirt was stuck to his chest where he had sweated. "You okay?" he asked, looking at how stiff I was on the couch. "Just sore." I tried to smile. "Long day." Without a word, he walked over and lifted my legs onto his lap. My breath caught as his fingers pressed into my calf. "You worked too hard," he mumbled. Says the boy who rebuilt our porch ramp by himself when the insurance wouldn't pay for it. The man who carried me upstairs every night because my bedroom was on the second floor, his thumb pressed into a tight spot near my knee, and I held back a moan. His voice was rough. "Just let me take care of you." But this wasn't care. This was want. I could see it in the way his jaw got tight when my skirt moved up. I could feel it in the shaking of his fingers as they slid higher. When his hand reached my thigh, I grabbed his wrist. We both stopped. His heart was beating fast against my fingers. "Tell me to stop." It was a dare, a plea, I should have said. So I let go of his wrist. His kiss wasn't soft. It was fire and teeth and 19 years of feelings finally being let out with understanding and care. His hands grabbed my hair as he pulled me to him. We held each other close, full of thanks, and the feeling of being alive, after all we had been through. This felt like the only way we knew how to breathe. I gasped against him, my fingers digging into his shoulders. "We can't. We already are." He lightly bit my lower lip, sending a shock through my body. "You feel that?" "That's and God help me. I did feel it. The hard press of him against my hip, the way my body bent toward him like a flower reaching for the sun. This was wrong, so wrong. But when his tongue slid against mine, all I could think was more. We didn't make it to the bedroom. Logan held me down on the couch, his hips grinding against me as I pulled at his shirt. The shirt tore, but neither of us cared. "Look at me," he growled. When I did, what I saw broke me. It wasn't just desire in his eyes, it was love. The kind that breaks bones, the kind that leaves scars. Later, as we lay tangled together quietly, reality came back. Logan drew slow circles on my bare shoulder. "You okay?" "No." "Yes." He knew I was lying, just like I knew he wasn't. My stomach dropped because that meant this wasn't an accident. It was something that was always going to happen. Some quiet moments are louder than words. The morning came, too bright and too sharp. I woke up before Logan. The weight of what we had done felt like a heavy thing on top of me. The sheets still smelled like him, like sweat and wood dust, and something that was just him. My son, my strength, the person who was there for me when no one else was. God, what had we done? He found me in the kitchen, just staring at the coffee maker. "Hey," he whispered, his voice sleepy. I couldn't look at him. I couldn't stand to. See the softness in his eyes, the softness that should never have been there. "Mom?" A hand on my shoulder, warm, familiar, wrong. I pulled away. The hurt that showed on his face cut me deeper than any knife. We spent the day moving around each other like planets far apart. He tried to meet my eyes, his fingers touching mine every time he passed me something. I kept pulling away, building walls with every quiet thank you and please pass the salt. By dinner, the feeling in the room was so thick you could hardly breathe. "You're punishing me," he finally said, pushing his plate away. "I'm protecting us." "From what?" From this, my voice broke. From the way people would look at us if they knew. From the shame that will destroy us if we let this keep going. His jaw got tight. "I'm not ashamed. You will be." That night I heard him walking back and forth in his room. The floorboards creaked with his weight and each step sounded through the thin walls. Then silence. My door clicked open. Moonlight shone on the bed as he stood there without a shirt, his chest moving up and down too fast. "I can't pretend," he said in a rough voice. Not with you. My strength broke, because neither could I. We didn't talk as he walked across the room. We didn't need to. Every touch, every look, every shaky breath said what words never could. This was going to ruin us, and we were jumping right in. 1 year later, the neighbors still talk about how close we are. Such a caring son, Mrs. Calloway says, at the grocery store. Always taking such good care of his mother. I smile nicely and touch the bracelet he gave me, a sign of our strong family connection, on my left hand. No one asks questions about that, because single mothers don't get married again, do they? Logan's fingers lace with mine as we walk to the car. Nobody looks twice. Nobody knows. And that's exactly how we like it.